You're saying, Anna, what is this? Good question. This is every single piece of artwork I've ever made in my 21 years of life. Just kidding, but it is most of it. I'm going to show you today because I feel like you guys know me for kind of like my star people. So I'm gonna show you when I didn't make star people because I'm an artist and I didn't always do one thing. Oh, crazy. That's a crazy thought. I've got like so much crap. So what do you guys want to see first? Let's start from the beginning. When a woman and a man love each other, a stork shows up to their house and I was dropped off and I just like popped out and I was like, hey, let's make some art. No, my mom's an artist, so I've always kind of made art. My mom would always have us doing crafty stuff as kids. And everything that's in like this big cabinet is like my mom's art supplies. Some of it's mine, yeah, that I put my own money into, but most of the art supplies I grew up on was gifted to me or my mom's. Needless to say, that started my art journey. What do I show you? What do you want to see? Okay, these right here, these are my sketchbooks. I think there are more. I've used like big ones for school and stuff. A lot of my stuff is just loose papers because I'll just like rip stuff out that I want to put on my wall. So, but I'll try and show you guys kind of my beginnings of art because I have some old sketchbooks over here. Okay, so I would say these two are probably my two oldest. I think this one is my oldest. This one could be my oldest, but let's just take a look. Okay, reindeer. The eyeball. Now, the eyeball is an art cliche because if you can draw an eyeball good, then you're good at art. And like the eyeball is like it is the window into the soul. So I would draw eyeballs a lot. This definitely was just me doodling at home, at school. Oh, lips. Oh, here's foot. So I was trying to learn different things. I think that's a friend. Oh, that's so scary. Ah! Tyler, you are all I need. Can't believe that's there. By Anna Morrill, 2015. I don't know how old I was in 2015. 11 or 10. Man, I gotta have some older stuff. Okay, I definitely pulled this from Pinterest. So I would just put one thing on a page. Because what if the one thing you put on the page looks amazing and you have to cut it out and you have to sell it? Hey, this one, I remember doing this. Look at me, I'm getting kind of good. See? One thing on a page, and then I would sign it. Oh, this is Rapunzel. Signed it up here. Hand. Learning how to draw hands. Hey, now this ain't that bad. And this is probably still how my hands would look if I drew them. Miraculous Ladybug, anyone? This is also when I got into my makeup era. So before my art Instagram was an art Instagram, it was a photography Instagram, a makeup Instagram, and a slime Instagram. So don't get it twisted. Your girl has always been an entrepreneur. Okay, maybe these are the oldest ones. I think this is I think this is before this one. Yeah. Okay, this is now middle school, I think. 2017! Star! That's actually really cool. And I definitely found that on Pinterest and stole it. So don't coin that as mine. This was when I was going to be a fashion designer. I actually got like a kit of all these pages with this one figure. I would draw designs on her and I would print out the page like I was really proud of this. This was a school project. I'm not really showing you school projects. These are like my artwork. Like this is what I did. So I got these little pages and then I printed this page out a bunch of times so that I could draw a bunch of times. And I would draw like book characters or like the way I think certain people would look like from different movies, or I would be inspired and I was star. My mom is an artist. When I was growing up, I thought I was the best artist in the world because my mom was an artist. I didn't want to take any art classes because I thought I knew everything because my mom taught art at home sometimes. So I didn't take an actual art class in school till my last year of middle school. I mean, which is fine, but I thought I had it all. I can't tell if this is middle school or like beginning of high school. I think this is COVID actually. Don't know. Don't care. Yeah, this is like COVID. So this was in high school during COVID. But so this is jumping forward a little bit, but I'll show you some other stuff. This was for sure middle school because this is what we made with our teacher. and we would go over different elements of visual art. You know, this is where I learned like the basics, even though I thought I knew everything because my mom was an artist. Ayo, concept sketching. Oh, wait, we just saw that. That's high school I went to. A flower. I thought I did really good on that. I think this was a friend in school, and it was like the best thing I ever did. Oh, that's really scary. Anyway, let's say I think these are my high school sketchbooks. Is this my first one? I don't know, dude. I really liked these little ones. This is senior year. So this is coming out of middle school and like, was it? Okay, I didn't do any art classes my freshman year, I don't think. Actually, yeah, I did. I did ceramics. But I didn't do any drawing, painting, craft. I didn't do any classes like that. I did ceramics classes, and then COVID hit. These are what I was making. I just would make them. I don't know what inspired me to make those. They're a little scary. Oh! Ah! See, that's me during COVID. I cut all my hair off. Not my best portrait. Yeah, so this is kind of when I started, you know, messing with the face. Because I would just freehand these. Eyeballs. That one's cool. I would draw stuff like this when I was super anxious. And you'll see my high school art is very much like that. Let's see, which one's next? I think it might be this one. These are all kind of just senior year. I don't know which ones came first. Let's do this one first. I would write in my book, doodle. Man, that's a lot of words. Getting more into like faces, and this was just loose paper. So I would go into this book whenever I just needed a star. OMG, a star person. This could very well be my very first star person because I don't remember drawing that at all. This is after high school. Yeah, this is the first time I went to London. This is another place in London. So we'll finish this and I'll show you one of my high school ones. So I just kept practicing faces, different techniques. Guys, that was real experimental. I just made art to make art. I didn't really need a plan, I guess. So let's just go with this. This is a big one. This was senior year for sure. What I had to do for my senior year was, well, I took multiple art classes my senior year. I think I took 4 or 5. This is my art class. This is a drawing I did. I write down my ideas. We had to have a final portfolio. I'll show you more of my art later. That was like final pieces that I did. But my final portfolio was all about being tired because I was, guess what? Tired in high school. But who wasn't? This is when I figured out about oil pastels because I didn't use oil pastels a lot. Here's a beautiful collage. OMG, here's ideas for a piece of art you'll see later. I freaking love oil pastels and I loved them a lot in high school. This I made into a big piece. Oil pastels. Oh! First star. This was my Instagram picture for a while. I was so moody, just like wanted to be so edgy. But I was also scared of the dark. Love star. Wow. This is when I started making clothes. So you saw my fashion book. These are stamps that I started to make when I was in high school. These are more faces. Fashion! It is so cool to see my old work and be like, wow, I made a lot of stuff. And you can just kind of see how I progress. Stars. Okay. Now she's getting good. Ayo, Among Us. More high school art. I think I would draw faces. Whenever I would feel super overwhelmed, I would draw pictures like that. Different sketches, still life. These were ideas I had for ceramics. Portraits. I love ceramics. This is a painting I did. Is it a painting? She had her hair spiked up and I thought it was cool, so I painted it. Ayo. Yeah, that's cool. This is when I started skateboarding and I was super edgy. Eyeballs. Yep, this was first time I got a mop. Man, I was edgy. I like these full spreads though. Oh my gosh, the Zoomy sticker. Oh, I went through an ink phase. She used a lot of ink. Eyeballs. Oh, snakes. This is around the time when I started making clothing. Here's some more faces. This is Guatemala. These are oil pastels. Then I started upcycling clothes after high school. Well, actually, it was during high school. I would upcycle clothes. You can still see it on my Instagram. And I would sell them to kids at high school and also like online. And I sold some kind of far, so that was cool. Okay, this, actually, I'll show you my stamps first. So these are all linoleum stamps that I made in high school. These are what I would stamp clothing with. And I see a lot of people upcycling clothes now, and I love it. But I would go thrifting and I would get a bunch of clothes and I would take out logos or anything like that, any words, and I would put another piece of fabric behind it and I would stamp them with my stamps. So that was high school, after high school. Here, I'll just show you like my high school work. This is like high school portfolio stuff. Portfolio thing was all about sleep and exhaustion and being tired. So this was a pillow. This is called Pillow Thoughts. There's a little slot right here. It was an interactive piece. I gave everyone a slip of paper and everyone put what they think about most. You know when you're like laying in bed and you can't fall asleep because you're thinking so much? So that's what this was about. So that's what this piece was about. This is called Exhaustion. It's made out of wax and string and aluminum and wire. Hashtag me. And then this was called Infection or something. This is actually a picture of my friend and she had something in her eye and I was like, oh, this looks cool. Let me take a picture. Or she was like, can you take a picture? I think there's something in my eye. And I was like, yeah, sure. Can I paint this? And this wasn't like my first oil painting, but it was kind of pretty difficult for me because I don't know, the skin just felt like it wasn't the right color. I'm pretty sure she's Hispanic and I feel like I whitewashed her, so I felt pretty bad about that. But this is a car on fire, which I actually had a friend help me draw the car because I couldn't do it very well with perspective drawing. And it's don't fall asleep behind the wheel. That's what it is. This didn't have anything to do with my portfolio. I just drew this when I was super overwhelmed, and this is with oil pastels. Never mind. This is with ink. This had nothing to do with my portfolio. This did. Here's like little faces I did. Yeah, so this is when I started using gouache and watercolor more. These are oil, which most of the oil I just did for fun. I guess stars have just always kind of been aesthetically in my art. Here's a little collage. Another little watercolor girl. More watercolor people, faces. Watercolor faces. This is from Pinterest. That's scary. That's like sleep. Whatever it's called, when you can't sleep and you see things. That's me. This is the moon, and this was for my high school portfolio. The idea behind this was the moon is sad because we go to bed when the moon comes out, and she just wants to be seen, and she just wants to be known. I can't believe I remember some of the stuff. This was exhaustion. Oh, okay. This was relatable. Hashtag relatable. This is like you're staying up late and you're working on a school assignment and you're so tired. This is a big collage I did. This was in my portfolio, and it is like, you know when you dream and it's like a weird dream, and apparently you have like multiple dreams throughout the night, but you only remember like 5%. I gotta be honest, I don't know if that's true. I haven't looked it up in a long time, but so this was like a dreamscape. This is after high school. This is my hair. This is my hair on this piece of paper, and I cut my bangs, and I took a picture of me cutting my bangs, and then I took the hair from me cutting my bangs and put it on here. Crazy. Eyeball. Oils. This I made in high school. Was very proud of this. Gosh, now I have to put all this away. This is a lion. So I painted this lion, and this was around the time when I was like listening to all of the Narnias again. It's not centered right, but it's okay. So now we get into the post-high school work. And there really isn't a lot because after I graduated, I had already gotten into my foundation program. I had a spot at UAL, University of the Arts London, where I went to school for a year. And so I knew I was going to go to that school. I just deferred for a year because I didn't have the money to pay for it. But throughout that year, I really just made clothing. So I upcycled clothes. I used my stamps. I sold them at like craft markets. Something I didn't talk about was I did a lot of pottery. I made so much ceramics in high school that I didn't have enough time to glaze it, that I had bins and bins that needed to be glazed. They were all bisque fired. So I went to one of my old teacher's houses who had a kiln and glazes, and I glazed them there. The glaze didn't turn out properly. I threw most of them away. I broke them. Yeah, so I painted these after high school because I graduated high school and I was like, now I just have a bunch of pottery. This was like a school project. These were just all things I threw on the wheel. I tried to sell some, but it's like when the glaze is imperfect and isn't and there's a huge crack in it, but when the glaze is imperfect and you can't eat out of a bowl, what's the point of the bowl? Okay, so after high school, I worked for a year, worked really hard, made enough money to go to London. Went to London for a year. I'll show you my university work. So that's kind of what we're getting into. This was a sketchbook I had in London. It's mainly empty. I would rip pieces out. A sketch. This is a sketchbook from London. I bought this in London. This has chocolate wrappers on it from Switzerland that my friend got for me, but this is on like the bus, and these are ideas for different things, projects. There's so much empty pages still. I'm not done with it, but this is St. Paul's Cathedral. Pretty proud of this. I did this the first time I went to London. In London, I did my foundation diploma degree, which is a year-long degree. It's not a bachelor's, it's not a master's, it's not any of that. It doesn't go towards my bachelor's either. So it's a year-long where you go to school, you kind of figure out what kind of art you want to go into, and you try a bunch of different things. So while I was in London, I tried like different design and photography things. Just like when I was at home, I would do what I would enjoy. But there's a lot of mixed media work. This is some digital design. Am I holding that right? Yes. Bill. For a couple months, we'd try like one type of art a week. We'd try painting, we tried illustration. It's super fun, super messy. We tried sculpture. This was more digital work. And from everything that we tried, from every different kind of art that we tried, we would pick a specialism. And what I went into textile craft. This is some work from textile craft. This is with a screen printer. Before my foundation and during my foundation, all of my work and most of my work was done with recycled materials. So these are materials I found in the classroom, around my room, in the trash. Also, like, I couldn't really buy much. I used what I had. So why my art focused in that? And because I care very deeply about the earth, it's just, here's some digital work that I did. I learned how to use natural dyes. I learned how to screen print. I learned how to do research. I mean, you can see in my high school work, it's mostly just what I was feeling, and I would just kind of draw it, and that's great. But I didn't really look into the meanings behind the different things, or like why sleep is important, or why exhaustion, how it affects our bodies. But what I learned in my foundation was the importance of research and learning about artists that are alive today, artists that, in art history, that too, but also just whatever subject you're learning about. So I did a lot of research on fast fashion, like consumerism, how textiles are made, because I was upcycling clothes beforehand, so I looked a lot into why we had so much textile waste. And then I did a lot of research on denim, because for my final major project, I did this piece, all denim that I found on the side of the road in London. I sewed it all together. I didn't know what I was doing. I'll have to show you my sketchbooks because you can see a lot of my work in there. It says, do what you can right here in cutouts, but you can see that better when it's hung up on the wall. I have all these different words that I was like thinking of and feeling and trying to understand when I was looking into textile waste, and just waste in general. It's mostly just about consumerism. Okay, so I can't actually find my university sketchbooks, which sucks because I feel like they're full of a lot of great stuff. They were bursting at the seams, so I didn't use small sketchbooks. The tutor that I was over textile craft had us use big sketchbooks like this. Great. I loved working in my sketchbook, and it felt so nice to have a bigger canvas to work on stuff. So I enjoyed the bigger sketchbook. Here's just, this is my sketchbook right now. Stars. These are just big scale. This is first thinking about what I want people to wear or thinking about my coloring book. This is more of my work from right after I got out of school and came home. I just wanted to stay creative. I was so worried about losing just any sense of like, oh, that's scary. That's a portrait. I just wanted to make, so I made, and I ended up making so much stuff. I was still illustrating these little star people. I started doing more gouache paintings once I got home. This is the portrait. Does it look like me? I don't know. This is a portrait. And this one looks like me. Here's another portrait. So really, like, all this work is just me trying to stay on top of making things. And then this is kind of just the bulk of what I've been making recently. These are my star paintings. This is the biggest painting. Well, yeah, I think this is the biggest painting I've ever done. Just like acrylic and canvas and oils, and I actually, it's pretty mixed media, but this is a portrait of me, and I posted on Instagram just showing everyone. These are paintings. These were all experimental paintings. I just wanted to be loose. I wanted to create, and I wanted to make what I wanted to make. So there's stars in them. And then these are, like, this was experimental. I love how this turned out. I always thought I'd put something on top of it, like a star face or some image, but I just think it's beautiful just the way it is. And then I just finished these 4 star people. I've started a new project where I'm taking inspiration from people on Instagram or just people on social media in general. I put out a Google Forms with questions on it. It's like, what's your favorite outfit? What's your favorite thing about people? What's your biggest pet peeve? Just like silly little questions. And it's really just so sweet to see how people reply and answer. And it's been helping my art so much. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, stay tuned for the next video. Yeah, love you guys. Mwah.